In the world of coin collecting, there are certain stories that sound almost too extraordinary to be true. Yet they are what keep collectors, historians, and even everyday people captivated by the hunt for rare treasures hiding in plain sight. One such story revolves around the 1975 D. Roosevelt dime, a coin that most Americans have held in their pockets countless times, yet in certain rare cases can turn out to be worth an amount of money that seems unbelievable for something so small. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a dime, only to realize it could be worth more than most luxury cars, more than a down payment on a house, and in some cases, even more than a year's salary. That is the fascinating reality of the 1975 D. Roosevelt dime era coins, with some commanding, jaw-dropping prices ranging between $56,000 and $239,000, depending on their condition, rarity, and uniqueness of the era. To truly appreciate why these particular coins have become so desirable, it is important to understand a little about the Roosevelt dime itself. Introduced in 1946, the dime was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. His image was chosen not only because of his role as president, but also because of his strong connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought polio, a cause Roosevelt himself had battled personally. The dime quickly became an everyday coin used by millions across the nation. But while most dimes are only worth their face value, some stand out as incredibly rare treasures due to minting mistakes. The 1975 D. Roosevelt dime is one of those cases, and the story behind it is both fascinating and thrilling. In 1975, the United States Mint produced millions of dimes at various facilities, including the Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark on the coin. While the majority of these coins came out perfectly ordinary, some managed to escape the mint with rare and unusual errors that would later become highly sought after by collectors. One of the most famous aspects of the 1975 Roosevelt dime story involves the fact that no dimes were supposed to be struck with a 1975 date without a mint mark at all. However, examples exist where errors occurred, including missing mint marks or striking issues. Add to that the occasional double die errors, off-center strikes, or misaligned features, and suddenly an ordinary dime becomes a rarity that commands enormous sums at auctions. Collectors love these coins because they embody a strange paradox. On one hand, the dime is the smallest coin in daily U.S. circulation, something almost everyone overlooks and tosses into coin jars. On the other hand, when a 1975 D dime carries one of these rare errors, it transforms into something almost mythical. The idea that something so small, so common, could suddenly be worth between $56,000 and $239,000 captures the imagination of anyone who hears the story. It's like a hidden lottery ticket, waiting for someone to stumble upon it. The rarity of the 1975 D. Roosevelt dime errors lies in how few examples are known to exist. These were not intentional collector issues, but genuine minting mistakes, which means they slipped through the system unintentionally. Unlike commemorative coins or proof sets, which are made in large numbers for collectors, error coins like these are one of a kind, or at least extremely limited. That's what makes them so valuable. Scarcity is the golden rule in numismatics. The fewer coins available, the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. When stories of these rare dimes surface, they almost always involve someone finding one by accident. Tales circulate of collectors sifting through pocket change, or people inheriting jars of coins from relatives and discovering one of these rarities mixed in with everyday currency. The thrill of these discoveries often sparks bidding wars at auctions, where passionate collectors drive the price higher and higher, each desperate to secure what may be one of the few surviving 1975 D. Roosevelt dime errors. Auctions have shown time and again how far people are willing to go, with these coins commanding incredible figures well into the six-digit range. Seeing a dime sell for as much as $239,000 can shock outsiders. But for collectors, it makes perfect sense that to understand why condition plays such a critical role. You have to look at how coins are graded. Professional grading services examine every detail under magnification, assigning a grade that can mean the difference between a coin being worth a few $1,000s and one being worth hundreds of thousands. A pristine, uncirculated 1975 D. Roosevelt dime error will always attract the highest prices. Even a slight scratch or sign of where can reduce its value. Though with such a rare coin, even circulated examples can still command astounding prices. One fascinating aspect of these coins is how they bring together both history and mystery. The Roosevelt dime itself is tied to one of America's most memorable presidents, and the errors in the 1975 D issue remind us that even in a system as controlled as the U.S. Mint, mistakes happen. These mistakes give birth to treasures that otherwise would never exist. For collectors, owning such a coin isn't just about the value. It's about owning a piece of history, a symbol of chance, and a conversation starter unlike anything else. Imagine showing a dime to someone and explaining that it's worth more than most people's annual salary. That shock value alone is priceless. The 1975 D. Roosevelt dime error also serves as a reminder to check your change. So many people dismiss coins as trivial, but those who pay attention are sometimes rewarded in extraordinary ways. That's part of the fun of coin collecting. You never know when or where you might come across a hidden gem. The possibility keeps people searching, keeps the hobby alive, and keeps the excitement burning. The next time you hold a dime in your hand, take a closer look. Inspect the mint mark, check the year, and don't be afraid to pull out a magnifying glass. Who knows? You could be holding something worth anywhere between $56,000 and $239,000 without even realizing it. The world of coins is full of surprises, and the 1975 D. Roosevelt dime is one of the brightest examples of how a small mistake at the mint can lead to a fortune decades later. The story of this dime is a testament to how value is not always obvious. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are the ones we overlook, the ones sitting quietly in coin jars, the ones passed down without thought. But to a collector, those same coins can be life-changing. The 1975 D. Roosevelt dime with its rare errors isn't just currency, it's history, it's rarity, and for some, it's a dream come true. And for those who find one, it's proof that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprises. Imagine holding a dime, a simple coin that has passed through countless hands, bought countless items, and carried little more than face value for most of its life. Now imagine that same dime being something extraordinary, something so rare and unique that collectors are willing to pay sums of money that could change your life forever. This is the reality of the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime error, a coin that, under the right circumstances, has commanded staggering values ranging anywhere from $35,000 to $161,000. For most people, the thought of a dime being worth that much seems unbelievable, but that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating and why collectors are endlessly captivated by this small but mighty coin. The Roosevelt dime has been part of American coinage since 1946, first introduced as a way to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. It wasn't just a symbolic choice. Roosevelt had a deep connection to the March of Dimes, a program dedicated to fighting polio, a disease he had personally battled. The dime became a perfect tribute, and over the decades, it became one of the most recognizable coins in circulation. Most of the time, a dime is just a dime. But in 2004, something happened at the Denver Mint that created a rarity few could have predicted. A small number of Roosevelt dimes were struck with errors, and those errors turned ordinary change into extraordinary treasures. Errors in coin production are nothing new, but they are always intriguing. At the Mint, millions of coins are produced, and while quality control is strict, mistakes do happen. These mistakes, known as mint errors, are what fuel collector enthusiasm and drive value sky high. With the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime, the most notable errors included off-center strikes, double dies, die clashes, and sometimes even missing details that gave the coin a distinctive and unique look. Instead of being dismissed as defective, these mistakes became prized possessions for numismatists, because rarity plus uniqueness equals desirability. And in the world of coins, desirability often means life-changing value. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark, struck millions of dimes in 2004. For the vast majority, nothing unusual happened. They circulated, were spent, and now sit in jars, wallets, and registers across the country. But for a tiny handful of those dimes, fate had other plans. Errors during striking resulted in coins that collectors now hunt for like buried treasure. One might look at these coins and think they appear flawed, imperfect, even broken. Yet, in the eyes of collectors, those imperfections are what make them perfect. They are rare snapshots of history, accidents that slipped through the cracks and made their way into the world, unknowingly carrying value far beyond their small size. The real magic of this story lies in how collectors view rarity. In 2004, millions of dimes were minted, but only a minuscule fraction had these errors. This means that while nearly everyone in America handled a 2004 dime at some point, very few ever held one of the error coins. This scarcity is what propels the value upward. When you combine that scarcity with demand from passionate collectors, the results can be astonishing. Suddenly, a dime that cost 10 cents to make is selling at auction for tens of thousands of dollars, with some examples reaching $35,000 on the low end and others climbing as high as $161. Auction houses have seen this happen time and time again. A coin surfaces, collectors take notice, and the bidding wars begin. These auctions are where everyday people realize just how powerful the world of numismatics can be. What was once a coin tossed into a piggy bank or jar can become a financial windfall when the right error is present. People who stumble upon one of these coins often don't believe their luck. The emotional thrill of realizing you're holding a dime worth more than a luxury car is something that cannot be overstated. One of the most captivating parts of this story is the mystery surrounding how many of these error dimes actually exist. Unlike commemorative coins, which are intentionally produced in limited numbers, error coins are accidents. There is no official record of how many left the mint. Some may never be found, some may have been spent and lost forever, and some may still be sitting quietly in drawers, waiting for the right person to recognize them. This uncertainty adds to the allure, because collectors know that every 2004 D-dime they come across could potentially be that once-in-a-lifetime discovery. To truly appreciate the significance of the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime errors, one must also understand the grading process. Coins are graded on condition, from heavily circulated examples to pristine, mint-state specimens. A high-grade error coin is exponentially more valuable than a lower-grade one. That's why professional grading services play such a vital role. They authenticate the error, grade the condition, and ultimately give the coin the credibility that collectors demand. Once certified, these coins become even more desirable and often fetch the highest auction prices. The 2004 D. Roosevelt dime error is not just about money, though the price tag of $35,000 to $161,000 certainly grabs attention. It's about the idea that even the smallest and most overlooked object can hold incredible value. It's about history, chance, and the excitement of discovery. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the idea that somewhere out there, in pocket change or forgotten coin jar, one of these treasures might still be hiding, waiting to change someone's life. Collectors are drawn to these coins not only for their rarity, but for the story they tell. Every error coin has a narrative, a unique moment in time when something didn't go as planned at the mint. These imperfections remind us that even in systems designed for precision, mistakes happen, and those mistakes can create something extraordinary. For the 2004 D-dime, those errors transformed a common coin into one of the most talked about modern rarities in U.S. coinage. Imagine walking into a store and paying for something with a dime, not realizing it was one of these extraordinary error coins. The clerk takes it, drops it into the register, and the dime disappears into circulation, its true value unknown. This is the mystery and romance of rare coins. They can be anywhere. They can be in your pocket right now. That possibility keeps collectors searching, and it keeps stories like the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime alive. In the end, the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime error is more than a coin. It's a symbol of chance, of how the smallest things can sometimes hold the biggest surprises. It's a reminder to look closely at the world around us, because value isn't always obvious at first glance. For those lucky enough to find one, it's a discovery that can change everything. And for collectors, it's proof that the hunt is always worth it. The next time you see a dime dated 2004 with that little D mint mark, take a moment to really look at it. Check for oddities, examine it carefully, and remember that hidden among the millions of ordinary coins are a few extraordinary treasures, with values ranging between $35,000 and $161,000. The 2004 D. Roosevelt dime error is living proof that even the smallest coin can carry a story worth telling, and perhaps a fortune worth finding. Picture this for a moment. You're holding an ordinary dime, one you've probably carried in your pocket hundreds of times, a coin that most people pass over without a second thought. It's the kind of coin that jingles in change jars, slips between couch cushions, or gets tossed into vending machines without a moment of hesitation. But now imagine that this ordinary-looking dime is not just worth 10 cents. not just worth a few dollars to a collector, but instead carries a staggering value ranging from $21,500 to $114,000. That is the incredible reality of the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime error coin, a hidden gem in the world of numismatics that has captured the fascination of collectors everywhere. The Roosevelt dime has been a mainstay of U.S. coinage since 1946, introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. It was a fitting tribute, given his legacy and his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which worked tirelessly to combat polio. The dime quickly became part of everyday life in America, and by 1987, it was already a familiar sight in circulation. The Denver Mint, designated by the D Mint mark, produced millions of Roosevelt dimes that year. But hidden among that sea of common coins were a tiny number that carried mistakes, errors that transformed them from pocket change into breathtaking rarities. Minting errors are what make this coin so special. Normally, mint errors are incredibly rare because the U.S. Mint has strict quality control systems designed to catch imperfections before coins ever leave the facility. But nothing is perfect, and sometimes an unusual strike, a misaligned die, or a doubled image slips through the cracks. In 1987, the Denver Mint experienced just such anomalies. The result was a handful of Roosevelt dimes that bore these unique flaws. And in the world of coin collecting, flaws are not defects, they're treasures. For collectors, the allure of an error coin comes from its uniqueness. Every error tells a story. An off-center strike might reveal how the blank planchet wasn't aligned properly. A double die might show that the die shifted during striking. A missing element might prove that something went wrong during the design transfer process. These quirks make the coin stand out from the millions of flawless examples that look exactly the same. They turn the coin into a one-of-a-kind artifact, and that rarity is what drives collectors wild. Now, here's where the story of the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime gets even more exciting. Unlike commemorative or limited edition coins that were intentionally struck in small numbers, error coins are completely unpredictable. Nobody knows exactly how many slipped out of the mint, and nobody ever will. They're accidents, flukes, freak occurrences that passed unnoticed by the mint staff. That means there could be only a handful in existence, maybe even fewer than collectors imagine. Some might already be sitting in prized collections, while others could still be out there, hiding in circulation or forgotten in a dusty coin jar. This mystery adds to their appeal and explains why their value skyrockets when one appears at auction. Auction houses are where the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime error coins really shine. When a specimen surfaces, it doesn't just sell, it ignites competition. Collectors, eager to own a piece of history, bid passionately, and the numbers climb higher and higher. That's how a dime that cost 10 cents to spend ends up selling for tens of thousands of dollars. Depending on the type and severity of the error, and depending on the condition of the coin, these dimes have sold in the staggering range of $21,500 to $114,000. Think about that for a second. A 10-cent coin commanding six figures. It sounds unreal, yet it's very real for those lucky enough to own one. And that's another fascinating aspect of this story: the condition of the coin. Collectors value not just the error, but the state of preservation. A dime that has been heavily circulated might still fetch an impressive price, but one that remains in mint state condition, with luster intact and minimal wear, can be exponentially more valuable. That's why professional grading services play such an essential role. They verify the authenticity of the error, assign a grade, and essentially certify the coin as a true rarity. Once certified, its value isn't just speculation. It's fact supported by experts and recognized in the marketplace. For everyday people, the thought that they might be carrying such a coin is thrilling. Imagine pulling out a dime from a jar of change, looking closely, and realizing it has an unusual strike or a doubled feature. At first, you might dismiss it, thinking it's just wear and tear. But then you learn that such imperfections could make it worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's the kind of life-changing discovery that fuels the passion of coin hunting. It's why collectors and enthusiasts carefully inspect their change, knowing that hidden among the ordinary coins could be something extraordinary. The story of the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime error also taps into something deeper: the romance of chance. Every error coin is a product of a precise moment in time when something went wrong in an otherwise flawless system. It's like capturing lightning in a bottle. The Denver Mint produced millions of coins that year, but only a select few carry this distinction. Those coins are silent witnesses to a mistake that slipped by unnoticed, yet became legendary in the eyes of collectors. They remind us that perfection isn't always the most valuable thing. Sometimes, it's the imperfections that make something truly priceless. What makes this particular dime so captivating is how it bridges the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary. A dime is one of the smallest denominations in U.S. currency, often overlooked, often undervalued. Yet here we have a dime commanding more value than a car, a house, or even a college education. That contrast, the smallest coin holding the biggest prize, is part of what gives this story its power. Collectors also know that the value of coins like the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime era will only grow over time. As more are discovered and locked away in private collections, availability shrinks. Demand, however, remains strong. The combination of rarity, condition, and collector passion creates a perfect storm for long-term appreciation. That's why many experts advise taking a close look at any Roosevelt dime dated 1987 with a D mint mark. You never know what you might find. And here's something to think about. How many people have unknowingly spent one of these dimes? How many clerks took them in change without realizing? How many vending machines swallowed them up, oblivious to their true value? The idea that treasures can pass through our hands without us knowing is what makes this hobby so exciting. It's the thrill of possibility, the belief that the next coin you examine could be worth far more than its face value suggests. To the heart of it, the 1987 D. Roosevelt dime era coin isn't just about money. Yes, the figures, $21, $500 on the low end, soaring up to $114,000, are incredible and life-changing. But it's also about the story, the history, and the chance to own something so rare that it transcends the ordinary. It's about the hunt, the discovery, and the community of collectors who share this passion the next time you come across a dime, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. If it's dated 1987 and carries the Denver D mint mark, give it extra attention. Look for anything unusual, off-center strikes, doubling, odd spacing, or strange features. Because hidden in plain sight, among the countless dimes still circulating, could be one of those era coins. And if you're lucky enough to find one, you won't just be holding a piece of change. You'll be holding a piece of history, a coin that could transform your life in an instant. The 1987 D. Roosevelt dime era is proof that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest surprises. It's a reminder that even the coins we overlook can hold extraordinary value. And it's an invitation to stay curious, to keep searching, and to never underestimate the treasures that may be hiding right in front of us.